Hello everyone and welcome back with another test route video. This test route is different in its own way. As many people may be aware that most of the tests start by following a navigation. However, this test route is different because my learner was asked to follow road signs. So I'm gonna drive you through the road signs that my learner was asked to follow. Now, the starting of most of the videos and the ending are gonna be fairly similar. The first 3-4 minutes and the last 3-4-5 minutes of the test route are fairly similar because approaching routes and going out of the test center are similar. Now it's the mid body, the 20 minutes in the middle is what matters the most. So without wasting any time, I'm going to start my test route straight away to keep this video as short as possible and to be able to help people. Now I'm going to be talking you through different things on the test route, okay, and it's to help people to what sort of things they're going to look out for. Test center is exactly behind my back on my left hand side, so as that is on my right hand side corner, if the camera is still capturing it, and my learner was asked to make a start just here. Okay, I'm gonna make my checks, I'm gonna make my move. Now this may be a slightly silly start, but I have seen examiners starting the test route in this direction. Now I am going to turn left here. It's a 30-mile zone. Now I'm at an angle, so I'm looking, the traffic can come from any side, so I'm looking my right hand side over the right shoulder. I've got a safe gap. I'm gonna make my move. Right, and the examiner said, as of now, just follow the directions that I give you, the instructions. And as you can see on the test day, I'm not gonna try overtake this bus, even though I've got the gap. Now I might try myself. Do I have to indicate? I've decided not to indicate because it's not gonna really benefit anyone. So dual carriageway, it splits into two. And it's 30-mile zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my left mirror and I'm going to put myself into the left-hand lane. The examiner didn't say anything at this point. However, there's a car park on my left-hand side, which is Travel Lodge in Harvester. That's where he did a reverse bay parking. And then examiner said, okay, when you get out, get yourself into the right lane, which is the right lane right now, and turn right at the next set of traffic lights. Now at this point I'm already checking my right mirror because I know I have to turn right, so I'm not going to leave it too late. By leaving it too late, I'll make my job difficult. So I hope the camera can catch. So where this lady's walking, this Travel Lodge car park is what they normally use to carry the maneuver. At this point I'm going to start indicating to turn right, and at the traffic lights he was then asked to turn right. So this is where we're going to wait. Now from here on, in one of the previous test routes, which was a slightly different start, which was through Beverly roundabout exit number 4 following a navigation. However, this is following directions. So at this point there were no directions given or asked to follow directions. So I was quite curious at what point would it start, what sort of direction he's going to be made to follow. But what I'm looking at this point is, because the Morden hasn't got the best speed signage, just so you know, after turning right it's 20-mile zone. Okay, now there are two signs. One's covered by tree, okay, but at this point I can see, and the other one is right on the opposite side, which a lot of people do not quite acknowledge, which is fine because it's probably hidden behind other cars on the other side of the road. Now at this point I hope the camera can catch. As you can see, it's partially covered by the tree, and where the black Mercedes is there, there's one on the right hand side. So he was then asked to follow this road ahead. Don't get carried away, it's a follow ahead road. I'm gonna carry on following this. Is called green lane, so it's got very odd kind of junctions to it, because people normally either cut corners or they go over the speed limit because it's a dual carriageway. It's a 20-mile zone and it's a dual carriageway, as it's been separated by this green patch in the middle. I will maintain 20-mile speed here, and my curiosity on the test day increased as he continued to drive, and he was only following the direction that had been given to him by the instructor, by the examiner. And there's this first set of crossing, as I can see there's a person there, but he's not using in the crossing at the moment, so stay very vigilant. Look at a bigger picture, don't just stay focused right ahead. Keep checking your mirrors when there's a change of direction or change of speed. I can see there's a learner on the left, but I am on a priority road. I'll carry on. Then my learner was asked to pull up on the left hand side where these two concrete bollards are, quite a few. He pulled up there, it's still 20, and then he was asked to move off, and it looked quite easy, but for me I was more curious about the fact what direction signs is he going to follow going ahead, as there's no navigation. From here the speed limit changes to 30, so make sure you take that into consideration, not continue just doing 20. If you do 20 along this road where the road ahead is clear, then you're probably going to get marked down. Right, at this point the examiner said there's a sign coming up ahead on your right hand side, okay? So he gives you a warning in good time, and he also points out or tells you where the signage is, okay? And I was like, okay, right. Now we all know that the camera is not catching any sign, but the sign is hidden behind the tree where the 20 sign on the right hand side is. He was then asked to follow the Wimbledon Morden, which is A297. That means it's the first exit on the left hand side, so you make sure you get into the correct lane. Don't sit on the right hand lane because you're gonna be an absolute disaster. So we are following the direction towards Wimbledon and Morden. They only ask you to do one, so Wimbledon was on top of the list. So look, there's a repeater, Central London, Morden, Wimbledon sign, and at this point the speed limit changes to 30. Okay, so he got that first one right. He started doing approximately 27, 28. I can already see a Royal Mail van. It's sticking out a bit, so I'll check my right mirror, I'll give him a bit more room, and I'll come back onto the left hand lane. This road is not quite downhill, but people do tend to go over the speed limit because they don't realize it's 30 from there, or sometimes they mistake it for 40. Now we're approaching a traffic light which is green at the moment, but as we get closer I tell my learner anticipate it's going to change. Now look, it's changed, so I can start doing my downshift. I have plenty of time to check my center mirror as I come to a complete stop, and it looked like a very easy drive, but there's something very tricky ahead. Now from local knowledge I know that there's a bus lane coming ahead. I can't put my car into the right hand lane straight away. Okay, I'm gonna wait to a certain point, and I was very pleased by the performance of my learner on the day because he had a lot of local knowledge, continuously doing these routes up and down, and he knew there was a bus lane coming. I know there's a series of cars on my right hand lane, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up my speed, okay, and I can already see there's a learner ahead of me. Now I've left some of the cars too far behind, but now that some of those cars are catching up, but I want to make it look more real. So I know the bus lane is coming ahead, and no directions are given, you just carry on where you're going. Now at this point I'll check my right mirror and I'll flick my indicator right, and I'm going to start moving on to the right hand lane. As you can see, the learner ahead is also switching lane. Now I can see this was purely down to my local knowledge, but this is here where I would see the blue sign on the left hand side showing me there's a bus lane ahead, and this is where the bus lane starts. So you make sure you get yourself into the correct position as early possible and safely, and don't leave it too late. Now it's slight downhill, but I'm still doing approximately 29 miles an hour. Examiner again points out there's a sign coming up on your left hand side, okay, so you look at the sign first, and then he said follow the direction towards North Cheam, and I was like, okay, well that's a bit of a surprise. So look, now I'm gonna slow down a little bit so the camera can catch. North Cheam is again the first exit, but there's a bus lane on my left hand side. Now what I'm gonna start doing, I'm gonna start looking into the left hand lane early, like the left mirror. Now I'm gonna flick my indicator. As you can see, the solid white line is coming to an end, and I'm gonna check my mirror again and I'm gonna put my car into the left hand lane straight away. I can leave my left indicator on because North Cheam is the first exit on this roundabout, okay. So I'll patiently wait. It's a fairly busy roundabout, Morden roundabout, and I can see there's this red learner car coming from my right, followed by a black car. But now I can go, and this is the first exit. You can see the repeater sign of North Cheam on top, and it's 20 from here on. Now I've come through 30 and I've entered into 20. Then he was asked to pull up where this black car is parked on the left, and he made a pull up, and then he was asked to move off, and then he was asked to turn right, take the next road on the right where there's a King Peri is on the corner where this man's just walked out. So he indicated he go into this road. So there were 2 direction signs that he was asked to follow, but this isn't it. So when you turn cautiously. I can see the car. I think so they were trying to reverse into way on the left hand side, but there wasn't enough gap for them. So what I'll do is I'll patiently wait here. On the test day, don't push your way into things. I can see another car reversed out, give them plenty of room. If they was still in the process of reversing out, just sit back. It's simple as that. So again, on the day, you're going to be driven through different combination of road conditions: narrow roads, wide road, 40 mile zone, 30 mile zone, 20s, and all you got to do is keep an eye. So it's still 20, as you can see. Road works, people work in middle of the road, give them plenty of room, plan ahead. You can see the road is looking very narrow. There's a triangle sign. There's a person who is not paying attention. Now he's paying attention. And be cautious, especially with the pedestrian, cyclists, motorcyclists. Okay, and go very slowly. Okay, there's sharp bend, but if you're too slow, it doesn't really matter how sharp it is. And then he was asked to turn right at the end of this road, which is what I'm going to do. Right, so effective observations. My view is restricted from the right hand side, so I'm gonna go out very slow and cautiously, slow enough to be able to stop at any point I wish, and it's all clear. So I'm gonna start following these cars. This was slightly unusual bit for me, because I was questioning myself which further direction would examiner ask him to follow. Now at the end of the road, examiner said at this junction turn right, so he indicated right. There's a clear giveaway, this junction turning right, you have to cross over and turn right. And this was probably the most difficult one, because there's continuous traffic coming left, right. So I'm gonna make my, now he said the sign is on your left hand side, follow the signs towards M25. Look at the M25, the right top, the only arrow is showing right. That means further down the road at the traffic lights, turn right. That does not mean that you have to take the next road on the right. Okay, so at the traffic lights, I'm gonna sit on the right hand lane. Do I have to indicate? Not necessarily, but if you're a learner and if you wish to indicate, indicate, because the right hand lane only turns right and the left hand lane only turns left. You wouldn't get marked down for this indication. So I'm patiently waiting. I hope the camera is catching all those direction signs, and as I enter, I'm gonna keep on the left hand lane, because there's going to be another direction sign that I'm going to be asked to follow ahead. While I'm waiting on traffic lights, I'm looking, so the speed limit's changed to 30 here, just so you know. So if you rewind the video by 20-30 seconds, you'll be able to see. So this is what I have acknowledged. We turn in right, I'm going to start following these trucks. Okay, and this is 30. Now during rush hour, this place gets extremely busy with long queues of cars. It's unmarked road, so basically it's 2 lanes. Now at this point, the examiner said the sign is on your left, follow the direction towards Rose Hill, A297. So that means it's going straight ahead, second exit. So if you pause the video there, you'll be able to zoom in and have a look. Very, very difficult roundabout. Same roundabout twice on the day. So that's the evidence that you can be taken on the same roundabout. I'm going to give effective observations. So left is the first exit. Here I'm going to flick the indicator to the left hand side. I'm going to make sure I sit on the inside, not start going on to the right hand side, because a lot of people lose lane discipline along this road. Again, 40 mile zone, a very lengthy road to cover on test day. What I'm looking at the bus stops, if there are buses there, if any parked vehicles. Also the fact, if it was a navigation drive, the navigation was asking you to turn right in 400-500 yards, you better start making checks on your right mirror and start planning on moving onto the right hand lane, because we were following the direction sign that's why it was obvious that if there was any change of direction, or the examiner wanted them to take a different route, they would give them plenty of time to do so. So we make sure that we maintain the speed limit. This road back in the days, last year used to be 40, but they have changed the speed limit to 30. So we continue to drive. There's no need for you to speed up. I'm patiently following the road ahead, keep things very simple. Look out for hazard. The traffic lights just changed to green. However, I'm at some distance, so as I get closer, to prevent any hesitation whether to brake when the light changes to yellow or red, I am going to anticipate that it's going to change at some point. There you go. So I'm not going to be hesitant. I'm going to come to a complete stop here, still following the direction sign. So if a new direction hasn't been given to you to ask to follow, that means you are going to follow the road ahead. I had to choose this particular time because slightly quieter time of the day is approximately 12 in the afternoon, and it's been raining every day heavily, which makes it very difficult for me to then make a video because the visibility isn't great. So my idea is to create a video on a day when it's fairly good daylight. Okay, traffic light changes. I'm going to show some good progress. And whenever in doing the navigation, independent driving, so following direction and following navigation are both are independent driving, which is approximately 20-25 minutes, 18 minutes, 22 minutes, somewhere around 20-25 minutes. And one last time he was then said, there's a sign coming up on your left, as you can see, there's a big sign. He said follow the direction towards Sutton. Now the Sutton to process in this little time is very important. It's third exit, it's showing straight ahead. And he then said there are road markings ahead of you, okay? And if I slow myself down, look, it says Sutton on the floor, okay? And I stick to this lane. That means this lane will only take me to Sutton. The speed limit is changed to 20, so you have to bear that in mind. A lot of learners get into the wrong lane, okay? So you make sure you follow the correct lane. Now here, my worry for my learners is maintaining the lane discipline. As you can see, it's a double sharp bend and it's controlled by traffic light. Rose Hill has got one of the worst road markings and layouts. I don't care if the authorities are gonna watch this video, but that's truth. Alongside the poor signage and road markings, if they mark the roads properly, it will massively help learners to improve their driving and be able to make decisions well in advance. So we patiently wait here. It's been 18 minutes since this video has been running. So traffic lights changed. As I can see, there's a car coming and he's kind of jumped the red light, that black car there. But this is what you need to do. Now look at him, he's sticking in my lane without an indication. And this is how you follow the Sutton. Right, I hope you took the track. Now look at the car ahead. They have no clue, no lane discipline, and the way he was approaching the red lights, he did not took that into consideration early. It's still 20 and we are in the correct lane. Now from here you can only go to Sutton straight ahead. So the left hand lane takes you to Carshalton, which is right lane. It wasn't one of the easiest directions to follow. Coming past these set of traffic lights, he was then, look at him, he's going in the wrong direction again. He has no clue where he's going. Right, at this point the speed limit changes again to 30, but 30 is not the target. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the speed low, around 24, 25. There are potential hazards, but they're cleared. And he was then said, okay, this is the end of your independent driving. So guys, now there were 4 direction signs that he followed on the day. So what you got to do is you got to come out, whosoever, if you want to practice this, and make sure you follow those signs. Alternatively, make sure you also follow a different direction sign so that you have a different practice to it, because I won't be able to cover all of those directions. I'm gonna be having to make a different video for all the roundabouts, bus lanes, junctions, and I'm gonna complete this project within this year. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll then be able to get the latest video which will be uploaded in about a week or so. So there are 2 more test route videos that I'm going to upload after the first 3, and that will be nearly the completion of my Morden test routes. Now, he was asked to pull up on the left hand side here one last time. Well, it wasn't the last time, it was the second last time, and then he was asked to move off. If you remember, the first test route was probably the same from the Rose Hill onwards, and again the examiner said, okay, I would like you to take the second road on the right. The second, he didn't say second, so the first is here, because they're too close enough, so it gives plenty of time to process that. I flick my indicator after coming first. Right turn, and I go into this. It's still 30 along this road, it hasn't changed. There's a bit of a hill, so make sure you show some progress, don't crawl. If you think you're going to slow down too much, go into the first gear, unless you're driving an automatic car. At the end of this road, he was then asked to turn right, and as I said at the beginning of the video, the first 3-4 minutes and the last 3-4-5 minutes of the video can be pretty similar to the previous test routes. Okay, I'm gonna make my move. Be very cautious because the traffic coming from the left hand side is on a blind bend, so you don't get to see them at the very last minute. Along this road, there are a couple of zebra crossings. As I can see, the lady with the red top just crossed, but there's no one in the frame right now, so I'm not going to drop my speed. But these are the type of things I ask my learners to look at. Fairly bumpy road. Not quite a meeting situation because this road is wide enough and there are no cars parked on the road. Another crossing, but not as busy crossing as the other one, as the other one's got a train station there, so that's probably more busy with a few shops around it. Okay, approaching a big traffic light junction, we're gonna go straight ahead. If you look at the test route number 1 on my channel, I'll show you. On this occasion I'll go into right lane because there's no car ahead of me. What I tell my learner, just stick to the left hand lane unless the left hand lane is asking you to turn left only and you have to go straight. Is that when you go into the right hand lane, given the right hand lane is allowing you to go straight ahead. So if you're in the left hand lane and the right hand lane car's also trying to go, as you can see across the right, so it's a 30 continuing straight ahead, just so you know. So okay, this black car is ahead of me, so they're gonna cause a merge early. Now it's merged into one, so the left hand lane came with us straight ahead. So these are the things you got to keep an eye on. Change of direction, make sure when you change your direction, check your mirrors. Now from this road is also pretty similar, the last 3-4 minutes of the test route number 4, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Again, same crossing with the school, gets very busy. Now you can see a queue of cars coming towards me. The gap is started, so I'm going to drop my speed here. Now I'm going to look at this. I'm a learner, I can squeeze my car with my ability, but I would ask my learner not to squeeze your car into this gap. Now I can, because this black oncoming car is smaller than those vans. So I'm going to go into this gap nicely. Okay, and that's it. So take some clues, when to go, when not to go, what kind of things I'm going to look at. I'm approaching again a mini roundabout ahead. I might possibly have 1 or 2 more test route videos after number 4 and 5, which would make it then 6 and 7. Okay, so my observations, the view is very clear on the right hand side, no oncoming traffic trying to turn right, so I'll just carry on without having to stop. Still 30. Again, same road leading to Morden Test Center, and it's fairly easy from here. But as you can see, what I'm looking here, I'm not gonna block the crossing. Like, it's not the zebra crossing, but it's a crossing that people might potentially use. But also I'm gonna make sure when there's a queue of traffic ahead of me, I don't end up blocking a junction and prevent people from turning into a road or coming out. Vehicles parked on my left, vehicle parked on the right. As you can see, people are doing a bit of meeting situations here. Let's start gaining speed, change of direction mirrors, and that's it. Your nerves do really start kicking in if you have local knowledge and you're like, okay, I'm the last 30-40 seconds of my test. What's the verdict? Have I failed the test? Have I passed the test? I am fully aware of this blue car trying to pull out of this junction. I'm still planning ahead. Again, very poor marking. So where that white lorry is basically blocking the entry to Asda car park. So I am going to leave plenty of gap with the car ahead, and I do hope, well, I doubt I can go through these green traffic lights in one go. I think so I'm gonna have to come to a stop. However, if I do come to a stop, I am going to end this video at the traffic lights. At this point, I am committed and I'm not gonna ignore. Okay, across the road is the test center on the right hand side, and we have done this test route several times, like the end, so you all know. So anyone watching this video across the road, the examiner is going to ask you to pull up on the left hand side or into Dudley Drive further down, or on the right hand side wherever they feel it's safe. It's 2 lanes merge into one, 20-mile zone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and my learner was a pass and he produced